Welcome back to the GSL Code A afternoon session. I'm Wolf. With me is Caldor. We had pretty quick 2 best of 3s.
Yeah, very, very quick. We had Terran versus Terran, and we had a Protoss versus Protoss. Both mirror matches ended with a 2-0. HyuN was able to win, and on the other hand, we had Hero taking a quick 2-0 against a bench. Now we're waiting for HyuN to join the lobby, and then we can jump into game number 3 of the day. He's up against LabyRinth, so we have Zerg versus Terran.
Yep, Zerg versus Terran. I think a lot of people put HyuN favored here. The games I saw at LabyRinth against First were basically just 2 really well done timing attacks, and First fell to them, could not defend. So I expect to see something similar to this actually in our first 3 maps, which we'll see right now. What maps are they? Let's put them up on screen so people can get that information.
Put yourself in the driver's seat.
There we go. There they go. Those maps are a little bit shy. Don't be shy, Neoplanet S, Daybreak, and Belcher Vestige. You've been around for a while now. You've come out a few times. You know how things are done here.
You know, when I look at those matches that we have today in our early session, there's only... we talked a little bit about including player names in sentences, and there's one thing that I got sent by Dr. Zaz. I want to give a quick shout out because I actually think that both of them were pretty amazing. First one, listen to this. In the center of the labyrinth, HyuN had to trust Yoda when he fought HyuN in order to avenge Hero.
That's pretty good. That's a good sentence there.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I like that a lot. Every single one of them. Every single one of them included, so that was pretty awesome. And so will be our next game. Neoplanet S is our first map. We have LabyRinth up against Hero. Terran versus Zerg here at the GSL Code A round 2. To the top right of the map, we have our Terran player in red. His ideas.
SK Telecom T1 LabyRinth.
You don't want to get trapped in there. It's hard to find your way out. Really short hair going on. Maybe too short for his face. But his opponent to the top, or bottom left I should say, in the blue, formerly a TSL Zerg, now on Quantic, he is...
HyuN.
Quantic HyuN. He's definitely the favorite in the series.
Not quite as well dressed as his former and current new teammate.
Yeah, Santa could definitely give him a few fashion tips.
Absolutely.
Looks like we're gonna see a forward barracks here.
Ooh, and it may be scouted right away. The drone's not quite gonna see it. It's gonna be a double barracks, in fact.
Yeah, 11-11. Here comes the drone, looking exactly for this opening, but is HyuN really going to check those gold mineral patches?
So smart. Yeah, he's gonna check it, I think.
He's
gonna see the SCV, so that's gonna let him know what's up.
Look at you.
I feel like HyuN has not quite realized what's happening now. He knows. You know what's really interesting about this placement of the barracks is he can actually lift it onto the high ground after it's complete. If he had gotten away with those double barracks, it would not be where you'd expect them. Then he could have lifted it.
He goes for the 15 hatch regardless. So
yeah, and this could actually be bunkered right now. There's no Overlord.
I don't really think that he assumes this is just a scouting SCV with the timing that doesn't really work out. And now the Overlord actually spots the second barracks, so he knows. And he will see the second one in just a second. There it is.
Now he lifts and floats it in, but still, this is not going to be easy to defend because he doesn't have...
He's blocking the spot.
Oh, he messed up!
That would have been so awesome if he would actually just have blocked the spot for the barracks.
Yeah, and now the SCV is actually in a good spot where he can't attack it. So this is so far so good.
I'm so sad now. That would have been so funny.
He needs to repair that SCV. This is actually just a textbook mistake. I don't know.
Yeah, this barracks is not going to finish.
That Marine's skating on ice, and nice control there on the halt there.
Yeah, really, really well done. Still delaying the barracks, and every second counts in this scenario. Every single second gives you another few seconds to complete the hatch, to start a spine crawler, to get the pool up, the Zerglings out. He is even killing the SCV. This is crazy. There won't be a second barracks, and with one barracks, the pressure is completely negligible.
Yep. I'm in agreement with you.
10 Zerglings against 2 Marines. Well, have fun with that, guys.
I think the Marines are dead if they don't leave, like, in a few seconds even.
I love that HyuN is getting the spine crawler regardless. He can always cancel the spine crawler, you know? Just starting it is already enough. And then you can decide if you want to use the spine crawler, if you don't.
This is just he even rallied his Marine wrong. Oh wow, he rallied both Marines wrong. This is actually embarrassingly bad.
Well,
I don't have anything else to say for this one, man.
all he tries. This just went worse the entire time. I don't really blame him for making mistakes like this because from the beginning this went wrong. He went for a double barracks and his second SCV gets scouted. Then he sees that everything is spotted right away, so HyuN is able to prepare. Then he realizes his SCVs are being attacked, are being killed. His second barracks delayed. So this is just a sequence of small mistakes that lead up to him.
He better at least repair his SCVs.
Devastated here.
He better repair these. I think he will. I mean, there's no way HyuN's actually going to break through, but he's not forced to repair.
LabyRinth is trying now. He's trying.
I think he got, I mean, after things got messed up for him, like you said, I think there were a few nerves coming out. That's why he rallied his Marines wrong, for example. Definitely just an unfortunate circumstance. HyuN now doubles his supply, though, and he's forcing him to use minerals to repair deeper. Look at the worker count is 20 to 16.
He's losing minerals, he's losing mining time with the SCVs, and the only thing that LabyRinth can do is he tries to go into an expansion and also edit the gas. But he's behind in workers, as Wolf just pointed out. We have 2 bases and therefore also 2 mineral lines being saturated by HyuN already. Decent creep spread, 3 cleans out, still pressuring the wall. And this is not something where HyuN looks at it as like, okay, I'm gonna break through here. No, he just wants to pin those 3 SCVs down, make sure that LabyRinth can't mine with them, that he has to invest minerals to repair.
He just, I mean, he made
a crazy situation.
He spent a lot of larva on lings, so he's trying to get the best use out of them possible. The worker count could be even further in his favor if he had not been so safe, but HyuN was playing this very safely. And regardless, now not only does he have a worker lead, but now he's got an army lead as well, and he can keep this base from going down to the lowdown for a really long time. And until the Hellions are out, he's going to be, I mean, he's going to be happy to sit there with his things.
He knows about all the timings, he knows what's going on in this base, and he can just do whatever.
Now he can spread his creep for free at home, for example. He can gas up, he can do whatever he wants. He can take a 30.
He's just droning right now, and I really like this creep spread. This is something that we have seen several times on Neoplanet S already, that Zerg players really focus on creep spread. There are only so few areas that you can walk down with a ground army that it really pays off to just cover everything in creep and get this advantage. And HyuN is even taking into lair now. He can go Mutalisks here, he can go for a timing attack, he can, as mentioned, take a 3rd base. He has all the options at this point.
I would love to see him go straight into Infestors, pressure a little bit in front of the natural while getting his 3rd base. Because there's not going to be very many Hellions out. I mean, yeah, he's making Hellions now, but they're delayed, and he's already got enough lings to deal with those. The one thing that it would make this a little bit tough to do is that he doesn't have link speed.
I actually think, I personally would not like Infestors. I personally would like to see Ling Meter Baneling now.
Because he has enough lings already out to where he doesn't have to spend too much more to get those out. A nice wall here.
The thing just is that at this point you can't pressure the Terran so much. So he's actually going into Roaches now. He can
Which
play,
also makes sense.
Yeah, he can play whatever. He can play Roach Hydra. He could go Mass Drones if he wanted to.
He really can. I mean, this is an understatement to say that he is incredibly and massively ahead. That's not even saying it well enough. I mean, LabyRinth's build was shut down so hard.
It's just so popular on this map for a Terran player to go for an 11-11. He played it a little bit different with the placement, using the low and high ground.
He didn't see the Roach Warren with that scan either, so he has no idea what tech is coming. He only knows there's a lair. He doesn't know why. This Banshee is going to be pretty important for scouting that, though.
Look at this creep spread. 9 active creep tumors, and he's even adding more. We now have the Overseer, so he has no problem against the Cloak. The first Roaches are there. We have Roach Speed, +1/+1. The Queens alone at this point are enough to damage those Hellions and throw them back. At least occupy them until the Roaches are in the game.
Yep. You know, he's going to have to get some transfusions here, though. He doesn't have a lot of units out just yet. The Roaches, though, are obviously going to change this. Oh, loses a Queen. Just needs to make sure that he pushes the Hellions back and takes out the Banshee. This is not a Banshee commitment by LabyRinth, though. He only made 1. He didn't get Cloak. It's really a scout. Now he knows about the Roaches.
I would also love to see like a macro hatch for HyuN.
Yeah, he can afford it for sure.
Yeah, he can afford it. He's a little bit short on on lava the entire time. He wants to get all drones for his 3rd base, but yeah, whatever he does, it's gonna be fine. +1/+1 is gonna hit soon. Thing is, he can't really break through because there are too many siege tanks, or there will be siege tanks with siege mode. So that it could just work out, but it's really close.
Yeah. The the thing is, there's not a lot to support the siege tanks. I feel like he could even break through the siege tanks. And especially because LabyRinth is trying to go mech now, and he's stuck on 2 bases. I think this is going to work really
is the
nicely.
placement. The siege tank is at the cliff.
Yeah,
That's not where you want to have your siege
tank. They're in the
tank.
wrong place, and this is just
With a high ground vision, you can take them down.
he just needs to send an overseer over there.
There was an overseer the entire time. I actually don't know where it went.
Yeah, I think he kept it at home because of the banshees.
Did the Viking kill it?
No, he just sent it a little bit too far, but he can actually just get vision with his own roaches on the high ground.
This is exactly what I just talked about. The siege tanks are at the wrong spot. He can kill them from the low ground, and now he just focuses on the expansions.
Yep.
That's all the damage that he has to deal to
He
his
doesn't
opponent.
even have to worry about the Banshee anymore.
He's also droning up behind this now for his third base. The third hatch is done. He's droning up, and he has the Spire. And this Spire is not for Brood Lords just yet. He's going into a Mutalisk composition after this.
He's going to go into Mutas. He knows his opponent's Marine count is low, especially after seeing those siege tanks. So he can just commit heavily to this, put all of his gas into it, and just start with about 6 or 7 Mutas to begin with. And I think he's going to just continue that production. He absolutely can at this point.
HyuN is playing this pretty safe. He did damage, he pressured, and he put LabyRinth in the spot where he's not really reacting. So if he gets a lot of Mutalisks now, that would definitely do a lot. But
the thing is, he can't afford to lift his command center and lose those SCVs right now while HyuN has a 4th hatchery going down. He's got map control. Look at the creep spread. He has no choice but to lift, but HyuN is just forcing him back. He's totally controlling the map and controlling this game.
I would really have liked to see Ling Muta bailing though. The roaches did damage, but he could have been in an even better spot at this point. I agree. Now with the Mutalisks. And HyuN is a Ling Muta bailing player. So that is why I'm a little bit surprised. Yes, he has Roach. He has a history of using Roaches too in this matchup. But he knows both strategies. So this is...
He could have even... I was thinking about this earlier. I feel he could have even gone for Bailings right away on 2 base after the failed barracks, because he either is going to have 4 barracks, which is not that good against Bailing Bust, or he's going to have a third CC, which is also not good. He lost 2 Marines.
Yeah, the problem
There's no anti-air here.
The big problem only is if you have suddenly the Bailings and it doesn't work, then you aren't even putting with your opponent if you're unlucky.
This is game over, I think, man. He can't even get these turrets up. He's got Vikings. That's all he has for anti-air.
He should just make sure that he doesn't get too many turrets up. Nice. Takes the SCV out just in time.
He's getting his tanks for free. That Marine is so desperate to try to kill these Mutas. Gets killed by bounce damage.
Yeah, he could have committed to this a lot earlier already, but well, whatever he does here is supposed to be fine. But now we have this 2-base economy for LabyRinth, and he is safe now. On 2 bases, he can hold 2 bases. Getting a 3rd base, that's where he's going to struggle.
Exactly, and his 2 bases that he's holding are not going to be so easy to hold once HyuN starts dropping roaches on him, which is what the next phase is. He's got Overlord speed already, and the drop is ready, so he's just going to drop on top of these siege tanks. My concern is the Banshees for his roaches. The Banshees with these siege tanks are going to make it a little bit tougher to make this work, but I mean, HyuN just has too much. If you look at the pure composition alone, you think about siege tanks and Banshees versus roaches, you're like, well, that can't beat the army, but HyuN has 5 times as many roaches as his opponent has units, so it doesn't really matter all too much.
He has 4 bases. He's getting the Bailing Nest after all. +2/+2 is not done just yet.
Third with a roach and the creep.
That's important to make sure that the Terran player doesn't get his 3rd base, because the 3-base Terran with this composition, that is going to get really nasty, even if he was behind at the beginning.
Catches the Thors here. The Mutas, by the way, are now going for some harassment.
It takes down at least one of the tanks. The Mutalisk is now in the natural, but there are a lot of turrets. He's completely ignoring them. He's just trying to take down the SCVs. Now focus on the turrets as there are no SCVs to repair it.
That was not the best harassment we could have seen, but at this point...
Well, he wants to max out on roaches, so that's why he is a little bit wasteful with those Mutalisks. He's willing to take the trade with the Mutalisks against the SCVs, and he killed a fair amount. He took down 34 SCVs, and now we have only 33 left for LabyRinth.
All he has to do is hold this push, and he wins the game. The command center still hasn't even been able to lift because of the creep, and that turret might even be blocking, I'm not sure. I'm actually pretty sure it is. Elliott's come in here, he's going to lose some drones, but the bigger story is just dealing with the army alone, which he's going to crush with his Elliott drop. Or with his roach drop, rather.
He should be able to take this down, no problem. The roach count at this point is 48, and he's getting another 15.
Even Brooklings are killing Elliott.
Yeah, here we go, and here come the drops. Here are Banelings, and he just takes down all the Thors, the siege tanks, they are gone. 77 supply for LabyRinth. HyuN is in the mode where he is basically unstoppable. +2 attack is done. +2 armor just finished, and what does LabyRinth really have to stop this?
Am I crazy about this command surfing block from turret?
I don't think it really matters though.
It doesn't matter. It's one of those things I'm thinking about right now is it's more interesting to me than watching these roaches totally demolish the Labyrinth, who's basically he's tied up against the wall here, and HyuN kills him. GG.
GG, and game 1 goes to HyuN. The double barracks opening for LabyRinth just simply did not work.
Yeah,
HyuN
it was
scouted early.
And not only did he scout it, but LabyRinth then rallied his Marines against Zerglings instead of putting them behind and lost all of them. Then he had to fly back. It was a rough opening for him. I think a little bit of nerves there. Something, but HyuN demolished him in game number 1. That was not even close.
Jen could have played it a little bit more dominant after the opening, but what he did was perfectly fine. He was very safe, and it was basically a catch-all build. He was prepared for everything. As long as the Terran player doesn't get up to 3rd, it's fine.
Yep. Now map number 2 is Daybreak. One of our more standard maps, the older maps in the GSL. This map has been around forever, and it probably will continue to be around. I can't ever see a day where this map gets removed. It's kind of like the iconic GSL map that everybody knows that's even now in the ladder pool.
I actually can see it disappear with Heart of the Swarm. Just because it's like the beginning of a new era.
That's true, actually. Cloud Game and Daybreak might be gone one day.
I completely agree with you that it's one of our most stable maps. It's just like I feel that at some point they will say, well, we need some new blood in there.
I'm with you on that. We're adding some new maps already for GSL, so look that up if you guys haven't already.
We're starting with the Daybreak match now, going into the second game between HyuN and LabyRinth with the GSL Code A round 2. Our Terran player